Facebook privacy. What privacy? A presentation by Hannah Ross for CIS 2050 online. Some salient points of this case is that contrary to popular belief, Facebook users do have privacy rights, but there's a multitude of documents that help users understand their rights. However, these documents are not really accessible to users nor understandable, and I'll detail that later in this presentation. Facebook has become one of the most adaptable programs brought to the internet since Mark Zuckerberg introduced it back in the early 2000s. It's been one of the most, if not the most used social network for a multitude of private, organizational, and group-related reasons. Facebook aims to advertise to its users by utilizing personal information with or without consent. This has led to a number of security problems, and this will be the main issue that I will be detailing in this case study. Some current IT events that are related to Facebook is that they have experienced a number of security breaches throughout the past few years, especially around the last election. Recently, a single breach exposed the accounts of 50 million users and all their personal data that had been entered into the website. Facebook also had to take massive security measures this year after a mass shooting, which I believed was in a religious building, was streamed on Facebook Live. It was taken down pretty quickly, but still this forced them to focus on what can be on live. The first question to look at regarding this case was to perform an ethical analysis of Facebook. What is the ethical dilemma presented by this case? The first thing is that Facebook is a social media site with millions of users. Facebook uses account data that is ethically questionable because of their nonprofit status. The stakeholders in this problem are Facebook users whose data is taken and utilized without their consent for marketing purposes. Options that can be taken for the people could be to stop using Facebook as a social media platform or to share less data on their profiles. However, even if individuals stop utilizing Facebook, data they've already shared is still on the internet and available for use by the company. Even if they share less data, the website is still able to track their internet usage and IP address. The best thing that is really able to be suggested for the situation is for the Facebook users to go into Facebook with the understanding that their data will be utilized. What is the relationship of privacy to Facebook's business model? There's a close relationship with the complete transparency of user information. Facebook declares in its privacy policy that all operations are dependent on user private information. And as mentioned in the earlier slides, Facebook only acts to help security when privacy lawsuits are brought forward. Facebook has gone to extremes to generate revenue while violating user privacy policy. Describe the weakness of Facebook's privacy policy and features. What people, organization, technology factors have contributed to this weakness? So Facebook provides an abundance of documents about the privacy policy that are incredibly easy for users to obtain and look at. However, that does not mean that users are able to understand the documents and therefore are not able to exercise their privacy rights in the slightest. This is a result of the way Mark Zuckerberg has constructed the organization and on the basis that they know they want to gain revenue from users' private information. Will Facebook be able to have a successful business model without invading privacy? Could Facebook take any measures to make this possible? If Facebook made their privacy documents completely transparent to their users and easily understandable, they could have a successful business model without invading privacy. However, they need to acquire consent from their users to utilize their information if so desired. Some applicable course concepts that were discussed in Chapter 4 and reflected in this case are boundaries, dependence, and vulnerability. Facebook obviously does not respect the boundaries of the privacy of its users. They do depend on their users' personal information to generate their revenue, and users have been going into Facebook completely vulnerable to their data being taken and utilized for purposes not consented to. Some case updates that I found in my research is that last year Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg was questioned by Congress over lawsuits against the organization. This came from the breach in information and those users sued Facebook. Some questions I formulated while reading this case is Facebook's revenue is built upon utilizing their users' data. If they were able to implement a more transparent practice in which users can and give up their personal information for the use of marketing, is it possible that users would even be willing to? I think obviously this has to be up to the disclosure of each individual user, but for the mass majority, I don't think that most users would want their personal information to be at the expense of marketing firms. Second question is, how could a breach in a company as large as Facebook affect other industries? Simple. Once personal information of an important employee within a company or an individual of high social standing has been leaked, it could be a threat to their personal well-being. Any implication of Facebook's leaked data will return to the company as a massive liability and a public relations issue.